Ladies and gents, my name is Xander, aka Deislayers, and in this video, we're going to discuss everything that you guys need to know on how to use grenade launchers. I'm sure that many of you have already heard that the Pinnacle Crucible competitive reward is called the Mountaintop Grenade Launcher, and in order to get it, you have to obviously use grenade launchers. Now, I'm not just talking about using the Skanky Colony, but double primary grenade launchers like the Militias Birthright and the Fighting Lion coupled together, making a new concoction called Ramrod. How you use this lethal combination is precisely what we're going to analyze, and in accordance with this, some other grenade launcher tips like anticipation, trajectory, travel time, hip firing, aiming down sights, their detonation mechanic, and lastly, perks, so that you guys had the best chance to annihilate a couple hooligans. The only thing left to do is to eviscerate that notification button, and let's jump right into the video. The very first thing I want you guys to grasp about using grenade launchers is their primary principle to land shots via Guardian Anticipation, Grenade Trajectory, and Bullet Drop. As with any weapon, your main objective is to always land that first shot, and the way in which you do this is to have Guardian Anticipation via radar awareness. With a typical pulse rifle, auto rifle, hand cannon, or whatever it might be, your radar awareness enables you to land that first shot as soon as you happen to have line of sight. However, this is not the case for grenade launchers because they have a travel time delay, meaning that your fired grenade is not going to reach the enemy Guardian instantly. Instead, this implies that Guardian Anticipation not only has to account for where an enemy will first appear, but where they are going, and together, these two concepts make up grenade launcher trajectory. Now, depending on the situation that you happen to find yourself in, a Guardian could be up in your face, cross map, on top of a balcony, or below an awning, and no matter what the scenario may be, a grenade launcher's horizontal velocity will always be constant, but its vertical velocity will not, and this effect is called bullet drop, or in this case, grenade drop. In physics, this is actually known as the Coriolis effect, and it's an object's vertical deflection over a long distance due to the object's mass and the Earth's gravitational pull. Now that class is no longer in session, you can clearly see that to use a grenade launcher appropriately and to increase your chances of landing final blows, all users must have Guardian Anticipation while simultaneously applying grenade trajectory and grenade drop principles. I have no doubt in my mind that many of you are thinking, alright Xander, but how exactly do I do this? That, Deislayers, is the Pinnacle Mountaintop question, and it starts by having extreme levels of radar awareness. Kind of like after you're drinking 5 cans of Red Bull, giving you wings might I add, and also making you feel like you're on crack cocaine, but that's besides the point. And more importantly, utilizing the radial detonation mechanic that all grenade launchers have, and we're going to get into that right now. Primary and special ammo grenade launchers like the exotic Fighting Lion and the Militias Birthright all have two ways of downing Guardians. The first is via direct impact, implying that you smack the enemy foe backhanded, telling them to enjoy it, and then send them to the afterlife. But the second is what I like to call radial detonation mechanic. Instead of trying to get a grenade to land via direct impact, you fire your grenade launcher and continuously hold down the trigger button until you ascertain that the grenade is in the approximate vicinity of an opposing Guardian. At this point, you release the trigger button to detonate the grenade, causing a radial explosion, damaging the opposing Guardian in the process. Hopefully, the one grenade obliterates them to smithereens, but at the very least stuns them, giving you enough time to swap your second grenade launcher and repeat the process again to surely desecrate, devastate, and decimate them from the battlefield. To demonstrate exactly what I'm discussing, here is an example of the radial detonation mechanic, with specifically the Fighting Lion followed by the Militias Birthright. You can tell that after I've taken into account where the foe is going via Guardian Anticipation, followed by grenade trajectory and grenade drop, I fired the projectile, never taking my finger off the trigger. Detonate the grenade by releasing the trigger, damaging the enemy simultaneously, swapping launchers ASAP without reloading, do the exact same radial detonation mechanic again, and poof, just like that, the foe is gone like a puff of smoke. Now, I'm not going to lie, this mechanic is not easy to pick up, especially when you have to swap back and forth between two launchers to do so, but the secret to mastering this technique is timing. Just to kind of put this into perspective for you, you're judging where a Guardian is going to be. matching the grenade launcher's trajectory / drop with them, following that up with the grenade's travel time delay and radial detonation mechanic to then do the process over again without any room for error, and this Deislayers is extremely challenging, let alone difficult. You are not, I repeat, are not going to get this your very first game or your second game, but rather it's going to take your third, fourth, or maybe even your 10th game to actually get the hang of this. But let me assure you that practice does make perfect, and once you get the timing down, double and triple kills are going to be occurring frequently, making Guardians a little bit salty. Understanding that, the very next thing that I want to evaluate is all the pros and cons associated with hip firing versus aiming down sights and direct impact versus radial detonation, because all of them have relevancy to emancipate Guardians from their ghosts. First up, we had the hip firing versus aiming down sights, or ADS for short, and through all this game footage that you guys have seen so far, what I'm doing pretty often is hip firing over aiming down sights. Why, you ask? This is a phenomenal question, my friends, and the answer lies in peripheral vision and allocating it with radar awareness to the radial detonation mechanic that I mentioned from earlier. Let's put it this way. Whenever you ADS, you lose radar, which in turn leads to a loss of Guardian anticipation. If you can't predict where a Guardian is going to come from, you can't recognize where they are going. You can't see the grenade's trajectory, and ultimately, you will never know whether or not to shoot for direct impact or use the radial detonation mechanic. Furthermore, when you ADS, you lose your peripheral vision, and this is what allows you to get multi-kills, leading to double and triple downs, which is vital for the mountaintop quest. Clearly, you can tell that ADSing is a hideous and despicable thing to do, so much to the point that you might as well just decapitate yourself, because that is effectively what you're doing whenever you're aiming down sights. The only time I would ever recommend that you actually ADS is when you are trying to shoot a Guardian at cross-map distances, but let's be honest here. The odds of you actually hitting that shot are almost null, and so for this one reason, it's just better to simply close the gap, gain that distance, and then get into a position where you know you're going to land that shot and be able to truly eradicate that Guardian. Continuing this exact same logic when comparing direct impact versus radial detonation methods, you see me use almost radial detonation exclusively, and it's because I'm trying to create one thing and one thing alone, and that's consistency. Once again, let's put it this way. Whenever you rely on direct impact, you have the chance to instantly down a Guardian with something like a Militias Birthright, but the same thing can't be said for that of the Fighting Lion. In accordance with this, you might believe that your hip-fire reticle is going to be directly on a foe, shoot the projectile to attain a direct impact, only to find out that you missed, but you could have sworn that it was going to connect. This instance that I just mentioned happens far too often when aiming for direct impact slug shots. Thus, it is much more applicable and better practice to use the radial detonation mechanic over and over, again and again, as it's something that you can personally control. Because the radial detonation mechanic is something that you can control, your timing is only going to improve, leading you to more consistency, and that is the premise behind any good habit. Comprehending that, the very last tip that I have for you is some tricks on how to use the Fighting Lion and Militias Birthright combination, and so by what mods and perks to look for on the Birthright, creating plenty of fiery explosions, lighting up the sky like the 4th of July. The key to success in using this combo is utilizing the Fighting Lion first, gain a hit marker to severely damage your opposing foe, and then switch to the Militias Birthright, finishing them off. The reasoning and logic behind this is number 1, to conserve the Birthright special ammo, since you only spawn with 2 shots, whereas the Fighting Lion has primary ammo spawning with plentiful shots. But more importantly than this, number 2, that is that the perk synergy between the 2 grenade launchers is phenomenal and stupendous, and let me explain exactly how. As we inspect the Fighting Lion, we see the first notable perk called Thin the Herd, which states that rapid kills against grenade damaged enemies refills the magazine, and that kills will always drop primary ammo. In addition to this, you will also notice that the Fighting Lion is masterworked, and as soon as you happen to have it masterworked, this is going to not only increase your grenade launcher's reload speed by 30, but it gives an additional perk called Chimera, and that perk boosts handling and accuracy for your kinetic and power weapons for roughly 2 seconds, activating immediately as soon as you happen to fire the Fighting Lion. Now, to see how these perks have a beautiful symbiotic relationship with the Militias Birthright, we had to inspect it as well. And so as you guys can see, it's rolled with ideal perks, or what I would consider to be ideal perks, of auto-loading holster and quick draw. With auto-loading holster, the weapon will automatically reload after being holstered for a short period of time. And with quick draw, the weapon can be drawn unbelievably fast. After hearing those descriptions, I have a hunch that you guys are already putting the puzzle pieces together, but just to be precise, let me break it down for you step by step. By damaging a Guardian with the Fighting Lion first, and then swapping to the Birthright to land the final blow, you are proccing the Fighting Lion's Chimera perk, giving you a massive boost in the Birthright's accuracy shot up next, followed by the Birthright's fast swap speed via quick draw. Upon obliterating the opposing Guardian with the Birthright's final blow, the Fighting Lion will already be reloaded once you swap back to it due to its Thin the Herd perk, and by the time that the Fighting Lion shot has been fired, the Birthright will also have been reloaded due to auto-loading holster. If you use this combination properly, you literally don't ever have to reload with either one of these two grenade launchers, and that is arguably one of their biggest weaknesses. Also, I want you to remember that the Birthright does more damage than the Fighting Lion, and with the increased accuracy the Birthright gets from proccing Chimera, it's a match made in heaven. But if you wanted to give the Birthright even more accuracy, you could equip it with a free hand grip mod, which increases the weapon's hipfire accuracy, compounding the lethality tenfold. As far as the Birthright's other perks go, the things you're looking for is to expand upon the weapon's leniency factors, and the best way to do that is to up the weapon's velocity as well as the weapon's blast radius. If you can do that, the Fighting Lion / Militias Birthright combination is going to wreak havoc unlike anything that you've ever seen, and it's going to taste just like fried chicken, making it oh so crispy and oh so juicy. Having said all these things, I think that you guys now have a very solid foundation and a platform on how to use grenade launchers. The only thing I didn't sprinkle a little bit of seasoning on was the power weapon grenade launchers, like that at the play of the game and the Edge Transit, but just know that what you're looking for on those bad boys is Rampage, as that is going to substantially improve your odds of getting double, triple, and even lights out medals, followed by once again increased velocity and blast radius perks, turn your mountaintop quest into a paved road, steamrolling all those little Mopkevich munchkins. By all means, let me know if you guys happen to find this video very helpful down in the comment section below, and if you happen to have any other tips / tricks on how to use grenade launchers, I'm all ears and willing to learn more just the same as you. Lastly, go ahead and check out some of my other new videos, as you guys can see right there on the screen. If you happen to enjoy this one, then you're definitely going to enjoy this as well. That's pretty much all I've got for you as of right now, and so as always, Deislayers, great gaming, until next time.